morning I am in a fog, feel like a dog, can't find my other boot. Tuesday they done cut my power off, this week, oh Lord, I'm only halfway through. I didn't Wednesday, Thursday slow but steady by Friday night. Damn, I'm ready for the weekend. Gonna holler like a dog. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm gonna cook me a big old hog.
Hey, what is going on, everyone? How's it going? My name is Tyler. Thank you so much for joining us here on Friday Night Live, our cruise news and travel recap. Once again, my name is Tyler. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It is great to have all of you in here. We'll get to the chat in just a moment, but in the meanwhile, I want to invite all the folks who are new to the show to consider subscribing and join the family. Here on this channel, we do weekly live streams just like this one you're watching right now, plus a whole lot more, such as Port Canaveral and Space Coast content. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and ding the bell so you'll be notified when we upload more videos. And if you are already subscribed, hit the like button too. It does show YouTube that this show is a great one. So again, welcome in, everyone. I hope all of you had a fantastic week. I know it was a very long week, or at least for me, it was quite long. So, but we are here, so I want to welcome everyone into the show. Again, a lot of news to get to today. Not the news that we normally talk about, right? So when I was doing the pre-planning for this show, there was a lot of stories out there, but none of them were like major, you know. Of course, we're still having issue with the Norwegian escape, which we'll talk about in a moment. I'll talk about news about Port Canaveral a little bit later too. Plus, we're going to talk about some very, very interesting things when it deals with Margaritaville at Sea. They're not looking so good, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But again, I do want to welcome everyone into the live show to this evening. Again, a lot of news to get to, so let's go ahead and say hey to the folks in the chat. If you're watching the replay, comment down below, and we'll get back to you. Again, appreciate all of you watching this show. So the first person in the chat was none other than Nathan from Best of Boat Worlds. Nathan, thank you so much for joining us. We also have my good buddy from Texas, Travel with Nick. Nick, good to have you in here as well, sir. And we have Zay's Cruise Adventure, Ashley, and the good old Streambot, making sure that the trolls stay away. We don't want the trolls coming in here, but again, I want to welcome everyone into this week's show. We have so much news to get to, so without further ado, let's hop right straight into the news. Again, we're going to be here for this whole entire show today, a whole entire hour, I should say, doing this show. If you have any questions, again, you can always feel free to tag us in chat. Again, that is at the Tyler Show. Again, tagging us in chat is a great way for us to get your questions answered. Again, it helps us defer questions from just normal comments. So again, that is at the Tyler Show. We'll do our best to answer anything cruise and travel related. We like to answer it here on the show. By the way, guys, if you have not done so already, again, share the stream out if you have not done so yet already to your friends who maybe are first-time cruisers. So go ahead and do that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the story about the Margaritaville at Sea, because things aren't looking so good for the Margaritaville at Sea, folks. So let's go ahead and hop over to that story. So now we're over here, and we're going to go pull up the Margaritaville at Sea. According to someone on cruisecritic.com, well, it was canceled, unfortunately, which is quite unfortunate, ladies and gentlemen. So, So again, according to this person, they said, did anyone else get this email saying that their cruise was canceled? The new inaugural cruise date is on May the 14th. I was scheduled to cruise on May the 8th with my mom, and got an email that was pushed back due to supply chain issues this morning. When I called customer service for a refund, I was told customer service is not working today and they'll reach out to me on Monday. Now, 2 hours later, I got email from Margaritaville at Sea saying they were excited to cruise with me on May the 8th, and they were attached to confirmation and luggage tag. And according to this poster, honestly, at this point, I just want my money back, and I have a bad feeling about this cruise. When I called this past Monday to get some information on the beverage package, they told me once again customer service was not working today. And I guess poster saying that maybe it's a scam. So let's see what people are saying. So according to, I was on the May 2nd sailing. Customer service was open. I confirmed that the ship will be refurbished and rescheduled by 12/22, so later this week, and will receive a cabbage at no charge. Also, the $100 deposit I will put down would be converted into onboard credit and all this stuff. So, again, it does appear that they maybe pushed this back. And again, here's the deal. From the beginning, I kind of sadly saw this, this unfortunate inaugural sailing being pushed away, because there's no way on earth that they could get a ship in a dry dock around the end part of April and get it back sailing early May, I should say. That is like, I mean, I don't know what they're doing to the ship if they were going to rebrand it that quickly, because I've never seen a cruise ship get rebranded that quickly. So, yeah, once again, folks, no surprise here with this cruise unfortunately being pushed back. I saw it coming. I know people who are booked on the inaugural must be pretty upset right now. But at the same time, again, this is expected. Supply chain issues, as someone said, but also that there's no way on earth that you can get a whole ship redone sort of, in less than 2 weeks. So, again, very, very interesting for sure. Now, let's go to your comments about the story. We have some of those comments rolling in. Again, if you're watching this on the replay, you can always leave the comments right down in the comment box down below. And if you're watching on the live chat, again, type in the live chat, what's your thoughts about Margaritaville at sea? So Nathan Vest Boat World says, to be honest, Margaritaville is basically just Bahama Paradise, except it sails under the new Margarita name. Kind of like a franchise for reference. Yeah, it is quite interesting what's going on with Margaritaville at sea. Again, I do know that I believe I was listening to someone's vlog. I think it was Jason the Ship Life, and they had where they went down the Margaritaville Resort down in West Palm or something like that, and they said that the cruise line will take a lot of the Margaritaville staples and basically merge it on the cruise line. So it will be Bahama Paradise, sort of, with the same leadership, but it will be a whole different spin to Bahama Paradise. A little bit more upscale, if that makes any sense. So I will be interested to see how it plays out. And Nick did just say there that, that would have been the quickest dry dock ever. Yeah, so again, from the get-go, I have been saying that, not publicly, but I've been in my back of my mind that there's no way on earth that they're going to be able to get the dry dock done in that quick of time. Because if you look at the concept art, the cabins have been upgraded a little bit, and also some other minor features involving, rebranding of restaurants and all that stuff. So I kind of knew they weren't going to get done in the 2-week dry dock period, but this May the 16th date is a lot more realistic. So I do expect them that they could possibly make that one if they truly do go full send. Speaking of going full send at things, there was big news this week with the one, the only, the Celebrity Beyond, and plus Royal Caribbean as well, with the Utopia of the Seas, which is quite an interesting name for the ship. But we're going to go ahead and swing over here to the Celebrity Beyond. Big news this week as the ship was officially delivered all the way over there from the Saint-Nazaire shipyard in France. So I'm going to pull up this story for you. According to Cruise Industry News, the Celebrity Beyond was taking delivery of the brand new ship as Lisa Lusoff Pearl at the Saint-Nazaire shipyard in France. Also, Jason Liberty, who is now the, I guess, not the president, but the CEO of the Royal Caribbean Group, was also there to participate with the signings. And plus, Captain Kate McHugh was also took ownership and took the helm. Again, that happened earlier this week. As you can see here, some photos. I'm gonna see if I can pop that up for you all. Some better photos of the signing. Of course, as you can see on your far right of your screen, that is Captain Kate McHugh, Jason Liberty, kind of on the left. So I'm gonna see if I can zoom this in a little bit. There we go. So Jason Liberty is this guy in the blue shirt. Lisa Lusoff Pearl, who is the CEO of Celebrity Cruise Line, is right here on the closer to the left over here. And I got Captain Kate McHugh over here, and then some of the France shipyard, the Saint-Nazaire shipyard leadership team also over here, and in the back. So very quite interesting, and indeed a good sign over there with Celebrity, that their new ship, the Beyond, is it's getting handed over to Celebrity. Now, there was over 1,400 crew on board when this event took place, and again, quite very, very good to go ahead and see. Here's a quote from Jason Liberty. He says that the delivery of the Celebrity Beyond today marks our ongoing commitment to growth and innovation. Today, we celebrate the future of travel and its possibilities. This incredible ship on its long-awaited day signifies our future of investing into the travel industry. Again, they're saying that they're thankful for the good partners over there with the shipyard, plus the new builds and Celebrity Cruises team, who is hard at work as making this whole thing happen. So once again, big shout outs to the Celebrity Cruise Line teams for making everything go each and every single day, keeping these new builds out. Speaking of new builds, we're going to transition over to another new build, Royal Caribbean's Utopia of the Seas. It's a very interesting name for a cruise ship, and I was quite shocked when they named it. Again, this name is not a new name, not going never heard of before. Of course, Royal Caribbean last year did trademark this name, but it's a very quiet one. Again, a lot of us were thinking that the Utopia of the Seas would instead be called the Melody of the Seas. Again, we were all thinking the Wonder would be called Melody, but then we were like, this one definitely would be called Melody. Well, however, unfortunately, it's not that. Is the Utopia of the Seas. Now, what makes this Utopia of the Seas different from the Wonder of the Seas, the Harmony of the Seas, and the Symphony of the Seas is that it is going to be powered by liquefied natural gas, a first for the Oasis class. Now, this ship will debut sometime in 2024, or 2024-ish time period, I believe. So, not exactly sure on the date. I just know it will debut there. Do not also believe what destination it will be sailing out of has been confirmed yet. Again, how Royal Caribbean from the beginning with Wonder of the Seas said that it will be sailing out of the Asian market, but of course, as we know, Wonder of the Seas today not sailing out of the Asian market. Instead, it is sailing out of the the Caribbean and the Mediterranean. So it will be quite interesting to see where this ship going. And again, also the Utopia of the Seas wasn't the only ship that had from Royal Caribbean that had news. The brand's new class of ship, the Icon class, with the Icon of the Seas, also had some major news announced this week as the Neil was laid this week. But the big news with the Neil being laid on board the Icon of the Seas was Michael Bailey did do an interview, and we got some tidbits of information that we have not got before. And the information is that its first ever cruise with passengers will take place out of London in the United Kingdom, doing Southampton cruises. Again, Southampton is pretty much London, as that's the biggest port for the big ships that is the closest to London. So the Icon of the Seas first cruise will take place around 2023 or so, out of the port of Southampton. It would take place around the November time period, and it will do cruises around the British Isles and all that stuff all the way over there. And then it will make its way down to the Port of Miami, which again, this would be its main home port, down at the Port of Miami. Michael Bailey did say that it may stop at New York and Boston, but they haven't said when the details have been worked out. And again, this is very typical. A lot of cruise liners and a lot of cruise ships nowadays are having the ships stop in New York for a little bit of media event, usually a media and travel agent event before they debut. Take, for example, you had Virgin Voyages, Norwegian Cruise Line. A lot of these cruise lines are having their ships, do a little bit of media preview before they go ahead and sail down to their main home port. Maybe that's in Port Canaveral, Port Miami, Fort Lauderdale. You name the port. That is the trend, though, that a lot of these cruise lines are doing. So that's what Michael Bailey did say, that it will most likely stop in the Boston/New York area before it makes its way down to the Port of Miami. So that was the big news with Icon of the Seas. Again, Michael Bailey also mentioned in that interview that the more details like what the ship will have, the size, and all that stuff will be coming in the following months. They said they just recently revealed it to the Royal Caribbean design team, so it'll probably be a few weeks until it starts making the press. I do expect maybe we'll get leaks coming out, later this month, possibly. but have to wait and see on that. So let's see what you guys are saying about the Icon of the Seas. Let's go ahead and pull that up. Nathan made a pun about, or the story we did before this one, we did a story about the one, the only, the Celebrity Beyond. He made a pun. He says, I do have to admit that the ship went beyond my expectations. And you know what, Nathan? You know what that gets, Nathan, my good friend? It gets one of these sound of maybe. Yes, it gets one of these sound effects. That joke does. Again. Yes. As mentioned, that joke does make one of those. Oh, there we go. My goodness, guys. I tell you, streaming is very interesting, the sound effect. Anyhow, good joke, Nathan. Thanks for sharing it with us. Nick also says, nice joke, Nathan. And now here's another thing from Nathan. He says, I do believe RCI, correct me if I'm wrong, that said the Icon would set sail this year with the Neolang. I predict the ship will start sailing at the earliest of January 2024. Yeah, as mentioned, I do believe Michael did say around the end of 2023, so about a year from now. So it does add up. Again, with the Neolang, I believe Wonder was kind of around the same time frame where their Neo was late. Again, the Icon is going to be smaller than the Wonder. And I believe also bigger than the Quantrum. Not quite sure, but Icon's going to be absolutely an amazing ship. But also we want to say hey to John from Jane and Travels. Thank you guys so much for joining us, John and Nancy. Appreciate it. Oh, and here's a good question from Nick. He says he's wondering if the Icon or Utopia would stop in Texas. Yeah, that will be interesting, Nick. I could definitely see the Utopia of the Seas calling home port out of Galveston. As it is, again, the Utopia of the Seas is LNG. And as we know, I believe the port of Galveston will have the LNG capabilities as the one, the only, the beautiful, really beautiful Carnival Jubilee will be out of the port of Galveston beginning sometime in the following 2023 time period or so. So again, you all, a lot of great progress there with the port of Galveston and all that stuff. So again, I'll keep you updated if we have any more major reports coming up with the port of Galveston. Also, we want to welcome Stickbot101 into the chat. Good to have you in here, my friend. And again, folks, if you have any questions for us, I see we have some questions starting to roll in. You can tag us in chat at The Tyler Show. We'll do our best to answer it. Again, here at the show, we like to talk about Port Canaveral, Cape Canaveral, and just cruising in general, as, of course, we have some cruise content coming your way, hopefully within the next few months. Again, that's TBD, as we say here at the show, as I have to go ahead and make sure my cameras still work because I haven't used this camera in a while. And hopefully, I can't comment on it yet, but there may be an epic video coming real soon. So you want to stay tuned for that. So now, once again, we like to talk about Port Canaveral. So this is the time of the show where we like to do your weekly update onto the Space Coast. If you have any Space Coast questions, again, tag us in chat. So we're going to go ahead and dive over to the biggest events at the port this week when it resolves to cruising. So we're going to begin with MSC first. The MSC Megarviglia unfortunately left the Port Canaveral to head over to dry dock in Italy. And again, unfortunately, I believe the MSC Megarviglia will not be heading back to Port Canaveral due to the simple fact that the MSC Megarviglia is going to be home ported out of New York. However, it will still be making supposedly, every other week, stops at Port Canaveral. And again, we're looking forward to seeing her, the MSC Megarviglia, here beginning soon. Not quite sure when it'll be here in the summertime. But again, the MSC Megarviglia was replaced this week with the MSC Divina, which is in port today. The MSC Divina is not a new ship to Port Canaveral. The MSC Divina was MSC Cruise Line's first ever ship to be home ported out of Port Canaveral beginning late last year, as it did cruises, again, 7 and 3 and 4 night cruises to the Bahamas. Now, we have not heard any updates yet in the meanwhile about whether MSC will be having another ship replace the MSC Megarviglia this winter, or if we're just going to have the Divina have an extended stay throughout the winter here in Port Canaveral. Again, I am looking forward to seeing the Divina again. I'll hopefully head over there within the next few weeks to go ahead and ship spot her and get some photos up for y'all. The only problem is, again, the MSC ships have the weirdest schedule. Like, they do Thursdays and Sundays, and that's it. So, again, y'all, we'll try to get our best to get over there and get some content shot for you involving MSC. But speaking of cruise ships, the Norwegian Escape. Let's talk about the Norwegian Escape for a moment. So this week, Norwegian Cruise Line unfortunately had to announce that the Escape's upcoming cruises were canceled. They were cut. They cut it off. They said, that's it. Nope, no cruises beginning tomorrow. Again, it was supposed to be scheduled for the Norwegian Escape to do cruises out of Port Canaveral. Again, 7-night cruises. However, they're still having problems fixing the ship. And they have to take more time for the divers and all that stuff to do a good job looking at the ship, so they had to cancel those cruises. Now, this is the really sad part, is that Norwegian Escape probably won't resume cruising out of Port Canaveral because I believe she's going to go to Europe in the next few weeks, and that will be the end for the season with the Norwegian Escape, which is quite unfortunate. But again, Norwegian Cruise Line is not leaving for the year. There will be a little bit of a gap, a few weeks or so gap. And then we're going to be getting the beautiful Norwegian Getaway here in Port Canaveral. That ship will be doing a mix of Caribbean cruises. And again, this will be basically, the ship was, the Norwegian Getaway was supposed to sail over to the Baltic region. But of course, you know what's going on with the world situation right now. It was not the best idea to home port the ship out of the Baltic region. So Norwegian Cruise Line instead is having the ship home ported out of Port Canaveral. It's great to see, because that would be about a year round. And of course, guys, it's great news for the channel as well, as we'll be getting over there a lot more with new ships coming. Again, you haven't seen a lot more ship spotting content a lot recently, because simple fact that I filmed almost all the ships that has been at the port. So again, that's your guys' basic cruise report, Port Canaveral. Let's talk about non-cruise activities on the Space Coast. We have a question here from Stickbot 101. My good buddy over there, he says, did you see the Axiom rocket launch today? And as a matter of fact, I did. Beautiful rocket launch. By the way, if you guys aren't following my other project, I would call it a project. It's not really my other channel. It's like a project, if you will, called Space Feed a Day. It's where I cover the space flight activities, on the Space Coast. Via live streams just like this one right here. Except I try to do a lot more, less showing of my face and more of showing the rockets. So that's what I do on Space Feed today. And yeah, again, to answer your question, Stickbot, I did see the rocket launch. It was absolutely beautiful. I tried to take some photos with my my nice camera right here. However, unfortunately, it was a daytime launch, and I wasn't able to get any decent shots of the rocket taking off, which was quite unfortunate. But we'll try again in the next few weeks to get some more rocket shots for you guys on the Space Feed Today channel. I know a lot of you guys are following it here on the show, so there you go. Answer your question. Let's go to some more, back to the cruise questions in the cruise world. We're going to head back there right now. A question from Travel with Nick. He says, what are your thoughts on the Disney Wish now that she is close to being complete? So that's a good question, Nick, and my thoughts on it is very interesting. So the more I look at the ship, the more it resembles the Fantasy class. I mean, the concept art really, it was very, very close. I mean, it looked way different than what it is. What I'm trying to say is that the concept art now compared to, the Disney Wish, it's kind of like there's a lot of differences. I know that right now, though, my personal opinion is that the Disney Wish looks very similar to the Disney Fantasy and the Disney Dream, especially the front. I know that the new tinted glass area, they have like an oval area. That reminds me a lot of the Disney Magic. So I gotta say, I like it. It's not a terrible looking ship. I really do love the Disney design of all their ships. I think they're absolutely stunning. I love the classic ocean liner look with that black and I think it's black. It's black, and I believe it. I think it's black. I was talking to someone, I forget who it was, but I think someone was saying that the Disney is not actually black. It's like some blue tint or something. Not quite sure about that. But the black and like the yellow, I love the Disney, and black, yellow, and white. This is amazing. Again, we're looking forward to seeing the Wish here. I will try to get over there as soon as she is here and get some photos for y'all. Again, really looking forward to seeing her this summer. and really are looking forward to doing Disney one of these days, hopefully in the near future. Again, a little bit expensive, but hopefully in the near future we'll be able to do Disney a lot more. And not just a lot more, but do it for the first time, you know what I'm saying? So speaking of do cruises a lot more, we have some very interesting, another question from Nick. Very interesting one. It says, any cruise plans for you? And again, Nick, unfortunately have to be pretty hush-hush on this, as some big plans in the work. Kind of for cruises. Again, I can give you a hint what it will be, like the content on the channel. It'll be a ship based out of Port Canaveral. That's the hint. And again, looking forward to sharing that content with you guys in the near future. It won't be vlogs particular, but it won't be photos. I know some people, they just take photos of their cruises. Not just that. We're going to do some, hopefully a ship tour or something like that. I'm trying to focus going forward on more, bigger videos in terms of doing the vlogs, because the vlogs are a lot more, the vlogs are great to produce, but they don't really do great. Like, the longer the cruise drags on, I'm sure Nick can, he knows about this. Like, the longer your cruise goes on, the less views your videos get. So, it's very unfortunate because you work your tail off, and a lot of people get a lot of hype for like the boarding day video, and then it gets, the viewers start decreasing. Then you get to your last sea day, your video gets like half of the views it got for the original video. So I do know that we will give some cruise content back up here. We have cruise content all the time, of course, but more like onboard cruise ships. Hopefully beginning very, very soon, and we'll try to ramp that up to, maybe 1 or 2 videos a year of ship tours, right? Ship tours is a big thing we're going to be doing here on the channel, and I hopefully found a format that I like, and I'm going to try to film it when I hopefully we get back on the cruise ship. So can't quite comment what ship it is, but it's a beautiful ship. Here's another hint what ship this may be. The ship is leaving Port Canaveral and going to Miami. So there's the other hint right there. So Zay from Zay's Cruise Adventure also says, they say Disney Wish July 2022. Yeah, so that's the date when the Disney Wish will be debuting here out of Port Canaveral. I do believe actually the Disney Wish will be here in June. It will be doing a lot of test cruises with Disney Cruise Line cast members and stuff. I would believe reading that from the local news. So it's unfortunate that the first passenger cruise won't be till July, but I do believe the first time it comes to Canaveral will be early June, like kind of what the Mardi Gras did. It sat around in Canaveral for a little bit before it actually started sailing. So there you go, y'all. And once again, everyone, if you have any questions, feel free to tag us in chat. That is at The Tyler Show. If you are new to the show, of course, consider subscribing. We do a lot of Port Canaveral cruise content and all-around cruise videos every single week. It's one of my highlights of the week, each and every single week, hanging out with all of you. It's truly fun, especially hanging out with the chat community here at the show. I like to pride myself in having one of the best chats out there online, and one of the people who make it some of the best chats online is thanks to our moderators, such as Travel with Nick, Nathan from Best of Boat Worlds, and a whole lot of other fantastic people, and a lot of other people for joining us. Now, by the way, if you're just joining us, feel free to share the stream out and consider liking the stream. And you know what? Again, a big thank you to all of our supporters who really help create this show every single week, and that even includes financially. So one of the most frequently asked questions I get here at The Tyler Show is, how do I, as the viewer, support your work creating cruise content every single week? As many of you know, creating cruise content is pretty pricey, as trips to the Cape to film the ships leaving, it costs a pretty penny, especially with gas prices soaring the way they're going. Trips aren't getting any cheaper. If you feel urged to support the work, you can go ahead and support me via the Cruise Junkie shop. On the Cruise Junkie shop, I have some pretty cool designs, all custom designed by yours truly, The Tyler Show. And if you do not want to purchase anything, you can go ahead and go to patreon.com/TheTylerShow. There is multiple different tiers, starting as low as $1.99 per month, where you can basically go ahead and support me and in exchange, I give you rare behind-the-scenes photos of the trips to the port. So again, guys, a lot is coming down the pipeline, and without all of you guys' support, these big plans coming up in the future cannot happen. So once again, thank you to all our supporters who make this show happen each and every single week. So Nathan says, I may or may not be going on a cruise soon. I'm still waiting for the information from my anonymous person. Yeah. Again, y'all, we're getting back cruising. Cruising is getting a lot more back to normal, and that's one of the things that's holding me back from going on cruises. Is this the fluctuation in protocols? It's to be honest, it's very like it's like this. It's like a swinging pendulum. It's here, it's here. So again, that's one of the big deciding factors when I do get back cruising. Hopefully, it'll be the summer. The protocols, it's more like the masking and stuff. Let's see what's up with that. The testing is another thing. I'm more nervous about the testing. The testing is really nervous to a lot of people I go cruising with because the window is. I'm sure Nick. I had Nick on the show a while back, and he did his review aboard the Carnival Breeze. And one of the things that we talked about is that the testing and how he almost had a scare with his testing. That's one of the things that is very unfortunate or very hard nowadays is that the window that the cruise line makes you get the test is it's like 2 days, which is very, very slim. So again, that's one of the things that's holding me back from getting cruising. But you know what? We'll be back cruising very, very soon. And again, I'm looking forward to producing content back on the ocean. But in the meanwhile, while we're getting ready to go back on our cruise, we always, of course, are producing content over there at Port Canaveral. And speaking of cruise ships in Galveston, well, we have an interesting story here from cruise industry news yet again. Galveston leading the cruise industry as a green port. So the Port of Galveston is making progress in realizing long-term change to protect the environment using cleaner energy sources, waste production, and sustainable construction, according to the port director CEO Roger Reese. He says that guided by Green Marine, a voluntary environmental program for North America's marine industry, the port staff is planning, and implementing several new programs. Joining Green Marines helps the port identify and implement best practices, managing environments, initiatives, measuring process, and striving for continuous improvement, according to the port director. Among examples of the port is building a new inner roadway to accommodate cargo and cruise traffic. And again, this new roadway is expected to relieve traffic congestion idling time on Harborside Drive. And again, Texas A&M University is also helping with this as they are conducting a study of shore power to cargo ships, and major energy companies have approached the port about a public-private partnership. For example, Royal Caribbean or RCI is outfitting their cruise terminal with shore power, and when it becomes available for the Oasis-class Allure of the Seas, and again, they're going to be using the shore power thing, which is great to see. And also, Carnival Jubilee, which will be home port out of the Port of Galveston in 2023, will want to liquefy natural gas, which is fantastic for the environment. So yeah, there you go. Very, very great news when it involves the Port of Galveston over there, that they're doing their green initiative. Speaking of that, Zay will be heading over there to the Galveston very, very soon. Yeah, so I've been to Galveston last summer. It was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get back there, hopefully very, very soon. It's a little bit of a drive from here from Florida. I mean, it's like a 19, 18, something like that hour drive, but totally worth it. Love that port. It reminds me of a lot of Port Canaveral. I'm going to all the ports, Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville. I haven't been to Jacksonville yet, but I'm going to all the ports. Galveston reminds me the closest to Canaveral with the vibes and just the overall place and how open it is. So, love the Port of Galveston. I can't wait to get back there very, very soon. And good to see it there protecting the environment. There you go, guys. Again, y'all, if you have any questions, feel free to tag us in chat. That is at the Tyler Show. We will do our best to answer it here on the live show. Yeah, there you go. And Zay from Zay's Cruise Adventure also says, yeah, it is about a 19 or 18 hour drive for me. I live in Florida as well. It's a long drive. Yeah, it definitely is going to Galveston. Luckily, that was just a stop on our overall road trip. So, I mean, we split up into a few days. If you want to see a little more detailed about our trip to Galveston, I did do a live stream where I recapped the whole entire year. Not just that trip, but the whole entire year on the channel. I did a recap video of that. It's like, let's look back at 2021. That's a really, really cool video I did where I explained Galveston. I explained our trip to Starbase. We also went down there, saw the prototype rockets down there. So, yeah, there you go. And speaking of that, we have questions rolling in now. And if you see me looking over here, I have another monitor filled up with all of our chat panel over there. So Nick has a question, really good one, about the newest ship coming to Port Canaveral in November time period. That is the Wonder of the Seas. He goes, what is your favorite thing about the Wonder of the Seas? So my favorite thing, Nick, is the redesign. I mean, I originally, when I saw the Wonder of the Seas, I was against it. I thought it went against the Oasis class, of course, as the design. You know, they got rid of one flow rider. They also onboarded the Wonder of the Seas. They completely redesigned the Aqua Theater, the top decks. I wasn't a fan of it. But now, since I've seen the videos and the photos from on board, I am an absolute fan of the Wonder of the Seas. It is an absolute fantastic ship, and I can't wait to try it out one of these days. I mean, the Royal Caribbean goes to so many amazing ports with the Wonder of the Seas, and a lot of other ships, and the crew on board these ships make the vacation just absolutely amazing. Speaking of crew on vacation, Royal Caribbean now offering shore leave in Caribbean ports to their crew. And again, this is as a trial program for select Caribbean ports and select ships. So on from April the 8th, so from today until April the 22nd, on 6 ships that are believed to be the Odyssey of the Seas, the Freedom of the Seas, the Harmony of the Seas, and the Navigator, plus Liberty and Grandeur. They will allow over 150 crew to disembark the ship at port on board a ship. Now, advanced sign-up for getting off the ship is required through the crew manager. And crew members must be up to date on vaccines and boosters if eligible. Plus, masks are required for these crew indoors and inside transportation. And again, the crew are also recommended to follow social distancing guidelines. And again, this is really big news, as this is the first time that Royal Caribbean has kind of done this trial program with shore leave for crew, which is just great to see. I know Carnival has shore leave. Sadly, the U.S. government in like January, I believe, of this year or something like that, during the peak of the you-know-what variant, they unfortunately had to cut back shore leave for all cruise ships. So guys, see it starting to come back. Now, again, if you can't get permission to do these cruise, crew leave, shore leave, you can still get on a bubble tour for a crew, and that's a way for you to be able to basically go ahead and get off the ship if you're not signed up for the crew leave, as you can pay to take a tour to the beach, maybe the bar or something. Select tours available for crew. Again, the crew tours sometimes do vary from passenger, tours. Like, some passenger tours are like the bar hopping tour. I'm sure that's not available for the crew, but again, that is for sure. That is good to see that the crew are getting shore leave again, as unfortunately, it was quite sad that the crew weren't allowed to get off the ship, and they're basically being stuck on quarantine on the boat when they were not working. But again, a good thing is now with Royal Caribbean starting to return back to normal, is they're allowing crew for their shore leave. Plus, they're allowing the crew bars reopened. Crew are allowed to don't have to wear masks outside anymore. A lot of really good news when it comes to the cruise ships, when it comes to crew. So Stickbot101 makes an interesting comment about the state of Florida. He says Florida is a long drive from Florida. Yes, it is. I know that is for sure. Driving around Florida is such a long drive from coast to coast. Another question here rolling in from Travel with Nick. He says Carnival Breeze is currently in dry dock at the moment. Do you think Carnival is adding any changes? So Nick, my personal opinion is I do not believe Carnival is adding any new changes to the ship. The only changes I do think that involve major is maybe the Carnival Breeze will get the new livery, which of course everyone is loving. Speaking of that, if you have not seen my new Instagram post where I talked about the new livery on board Carnival Cruise Line ships, go ahead and check it out. That is at The Cruise Show on Instagram. Again, I'm truly blown away how many followers I have on there. Again, I'm humbled that many people want to follow me for those cruise shows from Canaveral. So, again, Nick, that's all I do believe is happening. We'll probably do like some mechanical, fixing the propellers, and then some minor housekeeping, like maybe putting new beds in. And getting, of course, the new livery. That's what I do predict will happen with the Carnival Breeze. I will be shocked if they do not put the new livery on board, because it seems to be a trend for Carnival. Every time a ship goes into dry dock, they do add that new livery, which is absolutely amazing, and I'm an absolute fan of it. It looks good on every class of ship, so I really, really am a fan of it. That is for sure. Speaking of, again, our new Instagram post at the Carnival Paradise in Port Canaveral, I have a new video out now, which is all about the only 5 things. Let's see if I can do this. There you go. The 5 things that I wish I knew before visiting Port Canaveral. It's a truly great video where I tell you about how to eat at the port. I also talk about, what time ships leave and a whole lot of other things. So, again, go ahead and check that video out if you have not done so yet already. It was an absolute fun video to produce a few weekends ago. So, we have some more questions rolling in. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to tag us in chat as we start to spool down our stream. Of course, we're going to stay here till about 6 o'clock. And we have a question here, not involving Port Canaveral or cruise ships, but involving boats. And, of course, we love all types of boats, involving tugboats, ferries, and more. And this involves a ferry. Best of Boat Worlds asked, I have a question for you. What do you think about the new vessels for the Cape May Lewis Ferry, considering that the current ones are from the 70s? How do you think the old ones will stay around? So I predict again, as most vessels are, the company will do an analysis where they will determine if this ship is still good to remain in the fleet. I predict the oldest ship in the ferry, after the ferry does get maybe 2 of the ships done, so maybe they get the next 2 out. Maybe the ferry's building, again, I'm not exactly 100% sure how many ships the ferry is building. Maybe they're building a fleet of 4. I bet you they will do is that they'll slowly phase the ships out, kind of like Carnival's doing with the Fantasy class, right? As of right now, the only Fantasy class ships still sailing are the Carnival, the Carnival Ecstasy, which that's leaving later this year. The Carnival Paradise, which is going to be sailing a little bit longer. Again, they've invested a lot of money into the Paradise, and the Carnival Elation. Again, there's only 3 ships sailing, and in the end of this year, there'll only be 2 Fantasy class ships sailing. So I do believe what the Cape May Lewis Ferry will be doing is they will be kind of doing the same approach that Carnival's doing, is slowly phasing the ships out. Now again, this is Carnival talking. Now, I don't know about ferries. Again, I know here in the U.S., a lot of companies like to keep old equipment around. For example, our dredging fleet is, our biggest dredger in the U.S. is from 1940. So, again, not exactly sure what was happening over there at the Cape May Lewis Ferry. I know you're a little bit more of an expert than I am on your guys' ferry, but I do... will be interesting to follow, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. That is for sure. And Nick is commenting about, again, I mentioned that I believe the only changes that are happening to the Carnival Breeze will be that they will maybe add the new livery and maybe change a few housekeeping things, such as changing the beds. And I do believe, yes, that they will redo the beds. And he says, yes, hopefully that they will, as those beds were very, very tough. And that's one thing that is for sure. A lot of cruise ships' beds are very, very not comfortable to sleep on. They're not terrible, but they're not as comfortable as your bed at home, of course, as people have different sleeping preferences. Some people like it very soft. Some like it very, tough. Some like it very, spongy. So, again, the cruise ships have to please everyone, so it's quite hard. So I know, like pillows, for example, some of the things people complain about pillows on cruise ships. Sometimes they're too hard. Sometimes they're too soft. Sometimes they're just not right. And I bet you Goldilocks would have a great time on the Carnival Breeze, as they'll want the bed, not too hot, but not too, cold and all that jazz. So. And again, if you have any questions, again, feel free to tag us in chat. That is at The Tyler Show. We will do our best to answer them. It doesn't matter if they're, from talking about ferries, talking about if it involves anything boating, Port Canaveral, and cruising. We like to talk about it here on the show. And hopefully in the next few weeks, I'll be able to get a guest on the show. The problem with all the guests I want to get on the show is that they're currently going on cruises right now or have other events planned. So it's quite unfortunate, but we'll be back getting guests on the program very, very soon. Hopefully within the next few weeks / months. So. Again, folks, if you have any questions, feel free to tag us in chat. We have a response from our Cape May-Los Ferry by Nathan. He says they have redone the New Jersey and they're planning to redo the Cape Henlopen. The Delaware has not gotten much love recently. I do believe Delaware would be the first on the chopping block. Yeah, again, it will be quite interesting to see, buddy. Again, at least the ferries here in the U.S., most of them are a little bit older, so it will be very interesting to see nonetheless. And Stickbot 101 says that that they will want to be a guest on the show. So thank you so much, Stickbot. And also we have the Illuminati Geometry there in here. Thank you so much for joining us. I believe it's your first time here. So again, if you are new to the show, please consider going down below and going ahead and hitting that subscribe button so you'll be notified each and every single time we upload a new video. Stickbot 101 says, I know nothing about cruise ships, but I do have entertainment value. Well, Stickbot, here's the deal. I'm going to go ahead and consider it over this weekend, and I'll get back to you next time we do one of these shows. How about that? So once again, folks, thank you so much for joining us. We greatly do appreciate it. We're going to do one more story. Again, this week, there wasn't that many major stories in the cruise world. It was, again, very minimal. However, guys, there was a lot of smaller stories in the cruise world, but not any absolute major stories. One of the smaller stories was Carnival Cruise Line. This I guess technically is a major story, guys, as Carnival Cruise Line is raising their gratuities, which I guess is people are pretty upset about, but I do believe that it's good that cruise lines are raising gratuities because the crew are not paid high enough. So, Carnival Cruise Line is raising their price for the recommended daily gratuities on board vessels, effective for all cruises departing after May 1st. The increase will be going up from $14.50 per day, and again, the original price for this the gratuities was at $13.99. Now, suite guests are suggested to pay $16.50 per day. Again, that went up from $15.99. Now, here's a quote from Carnival's Chief Operation Officer, the COO. Says, our shipboard team members worked hard to provide exceptional and friendly service. We hope that you agree that this slight increase is well deserved. Now, I personally think, once again, I do agree with that guy's quote that the cruise lines, they should be raising the prices for the crew members because the cruise members don't get paid enough for all the hard work they do each and every single day on board the cruise ships. Oh my goodness. I also just noticed, guys, that I have the comedy sound effect every time I go in between scenes, so I'm sorry for that. You had to hear that. Once again, very sorry, folks, but we have another question here from Nick. Again, we're going to start spooling down our stream in just a moment. He says, how much longer do you think that the grandeur of the seas will remain in the Royal Caribbean fleet? Again, it's been a long week, guys. But for that, Nick, I do believe Grandeur will remain a little bit longer compared to the other ships. It's a lot more loved than the other ships in the Vision class. I do believe that the Vision may be first to go. I knew the reason why people were saying that Grandeur may be, next on the chopping block because it was on the chopping block, but again, due to the pandemic and stuff going on, they had to unfortunately push it back a little bit. So again, folks, I do believe the Grandeur of the Seas will be again resuming cruising, longer again. Grandeur of the Seas, the buyer who is going to buy the Grandeur of the Seas is no longer in the picture. Pullman Tour, they're out of the picture. So the only option of cruise line story to buy the Grandeur of the Seas, maybe TUI, maybe Marella will buy it, but again, I don't see the cash flow of those lines being at a place right now that they could buy the Grandeur. The only other option for Royal Caribbean to do is to scrap the ship, and Royal Caribbean is trying, not to scrap the ships as much as possible. Last year, as of right now, actually, none of Royal Caribbean ships have been scrapped as of right now. Some of them are going to be scrapped, such as the Majesty of the Seas, or at least that's in limbo. Again, not exactly confirmed yet, but some of these cruise ships could be scrapped. But I do believe Royal Caribbean will not be selling any of their ships to the scrapyard. Something Royal Caribbean does not really do that often, so that will be very, very interesting for sure. Again, folks, a good comment here about the Grandeur of the Seas from Nathan. He says the only reason why they kept Grandeur is because Pullman Tour, I predict maybe 3 to 10 years, depending on the amount of passengers on the ship. I agree 100% right there, Nathan, about the Grandeur saying around 3 to 10 years. It's going to be very, very interesting. And again, it's very true that they will keep it for about 3 to 10 years as again, the more dry docks the ship goes to, the more money it costs. So as soon as the operating cost gets beyond affordable, so like the Oasis class ships operating cost is very, very affordable compared to the older ships. The older the ship is, the more money it costs to operate. So again, folks, I do predict that the Grandeur of the Seas, as Nathan just mentioned, will stay around for 3 to 10 years. So that is for sure. But guys, thank you so much for joining us for this week's show. Big thank you to our moderators, keeping the chat nice and safe. If you are new to this show, please consider going down below and hitting that subscribe button and sharing the stream out to all your friends. Again, we are trying to get monetized, and that's going all right there. The watch hours is very, very interesting. Going up and down as mentioned. So again, folks, we appreciate all the support though via our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/TheTylerShow and via the Cruise Junkie shop. Again, that is via the link down in the description below. Again, both of those, Patreon and the Cruise Junkie shop, available down in the description below. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, we're back here together again sometime in the near future. My name is Tyler, and you are watching The Tyler Show. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see ya very soon. Be safe, everyone.
Ready for the weekend. I'm gonna make my another weekend.
The technical difficulties we get on this show is very, very